Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Fit Chicks Chat. My name's Laura Jackson.
And I'm Amanda Quinn.
And on today's podcast, we are going into the mindset of a holistic nutrition weight loss coach. So you can start to think like one too and get all of the benefits in your life from approaching nutrition from this way to reach your weight loss goals. So I'm very excited about this because this is our final podcast before. Yeah, it is. It's our final podcast before our holistic nutrition weight loss coach certification starts on May 15th. So if you are interested in getting certified and taking this information deeper, go check out fitchicksacademy.com/HWLC, where you can go and enroll in our upcoming certification. So we kick off May 15th. I'm so excited. Now, there are three major, I would say, not even like their mindset shifts, but there are three ways of looking at your nutrition in order to be able to hit your weight loss goals that I think are very different that we teach than in a lot of different places. Because when you're looking at your weight loss or your client's weight loss, it's very easy to get into, the calories in and the calories out and all of those, those pieces that of course play a part in it. But it becomes so much about the physical body. And as a coach, yes, we have to understand that stuff, but we also have to understand how to help our clients navigate through this change. And that I think is the secret to being a really amazing coach. So we're letting you guys in on how to do this and what the three kind of shifts are. Amanda, have you found that since starting any of these, like talking about this stuff, that it's changed a lot of the way that, you've approached your nutrition?
Definitely. I think that I I feel like before with my nutrition, I was a lot more careless about it, if that makes sense. Like I growing up, I look back and I'm like, when I was like younger, I didn't have to pay attention to my nutrition that much. It didn't really like my body didn't fluctuate that much or anything like that. So I didn't have to focus on it overly. I could eat nerds all day and never like worry about anything. But now I'm like, oh wait, I really do have to start thinking about this, not just for like weight loss or that, but also just for like overall health and well-being, right? And so I think everything that we talk about, everything that we learn about in our holistic nutrition weight loss coaching program, in Fit Chicks Academy that we talk through, listening to, you talk even like in our podcast interviews and things like that we talk through stuff. I'm always adapting and changing. But the thing that I think is really important for me is that I look at it and I say, these are all tools. And then I choose what tools resonate with me. And I think as a coach too, you want to think about it from that perspective. Like having all of the tools in your arsenal are really important, but then looking at each client as an individual to decide what's going to best suit each of your clients and what they need is going to be something that's going to really benefit you and your client the most.
1000%. And I honestly, when we developed this course, now it's, I think it first launched in 2018. It really was born out of seeing a gap in the fitness and health coaching industry because there was no courses that taught weight loss, but taught it in a way that looked at the whole picture, which is the nutrition, the mindset, and the habits, right? And did not teach coaches how to coach in that way. So I really love this because I think not only whether you're, you never decide to be a coach, if you're leading your own nutrition, which is one of our goals to help all of you, whoever is listening, to be able to start feel more confident leading your own nutrition and your coaching abilities to other people. But even if you start to apply these things, you're going to find some resonate more and some don't. But then you'll be able to create your own kind of personalized plan and approach through that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way that it works, right? Weight loss is more than just plugging in numbers and going into a caloric deficit. We have to look at so many other factors, which are, personal to each of us. So the first success mindset shift. The first way that a holistic nutrition weight loss coach looks at and approaches weight loss with their clients is we teach this concept called the 10,000 foot view.
Mhm.
So I have talked a lot about this in coaching calls, and I just found that I really like this explanation because I can visually see it. So when I'm coaching, I think of it in this way, and I think of it the way too in my own life as well.
Right.
Because it's very, very easy to get caught up in your day to day that you can't see the big picture of what is going on.
Hmm.
So I teach this idea of, as a coach, we have to be able to elevate ourselves up to like the 10,000 foot view. So almost as if we're hovering up above, looking down at our clients' overall picture of what they're doing. So many coaches, they get caught up in the day to day, right? They get caught up in like, what did my client eat today? And then your client has a bad day, and that bad day means everything. So it's having this ability to be able to kind of lift out of your body and look at the whole picture, look at their months, look at their weeks, and then look at their day to day. So I'll give you an example of this. So let's say if your client has to have, maybe they're at 2,000 calories a day to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight. So 2,000 times 7 is 14,000. And that's the goal they're trying to hit. So if one day they, eat 2,000 and the next day they eat 3,000, does that mean we've ruined our plan? No, it just means that during that week we have 14,000 calories and we've just used 5 of them. So we can break that up over the rest of the week. Or for example, if you have one meal where you completely overeat, it's not going to blow your progress. You just make up for it in other meals. So it's having that ability to be able to step out and look at the bigger picture of the month, of the weeks, and then also though bring it into the daily details. So that's what, we teach a lot about is the habits. So how do we help our clients track their progress over, the months, but then also shift their day to day, what they do at each meal, how they show up in their lives, and all of those pieces to it. And those are the habits that we teach within our certification.
And I think understanding how to do that as a coach and then also how to explain that to your clients
Yeah.
is a really important piece because what that will do for clients is it'll take them from the mindset of, oh, I ate cake for dinner, whatever. And then they're like, oh, I already ate cake. I may as well eat the pizza, or I may as well eat this, or I may as well, or tomorrow doesn't matter. The rest of the week is blown, forget it. And then they go completely off the rails, right? Which is, again, I'm speaking from personal experience. And I'm also speaking from this place of like understanding we're all human beings and we all have that ability to just decide that one thing off plan means everything is off plan. And as soon as we make that decision, we'll just go completely off the rails. And I've
Yeah.
seen it time and time again with clients, but also with myself. And so when we can explain it to our clients that it's like, no, 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 it's okay. Because when we look at the entire thing, I always think of it like an eagle, like soaring and looking at like all of the terrain. I don't know why that's like the visual that I get,
Yeah.
but
I think of like a plane, like I'm just standing looking down.
yeah, I always think of like an eagle like soaring and just kind of looking at like the whole like plains and just being like, okay, now when I'm looking at the train, what is it that I'm seeing? Like the big map, right? And when we look at it from that perspective and we explain it to our clients to be able to see it from that perspective too, then they know that it's like, oh, okay, if we're looking at the terrain, like that little rock there is not going to affect me getting to my end result, right? So it's just like move around it and keep going. I don't know.
Well, and this is
Visually how
this is
I
I
see
think
it.
a skill for a lot of us in life, in every area of our life, right? Is that
Yeah.
ability to be able to keep committed to the daily actions, but be able to see the bigger picture when things
Yeah.
don't feel like they're working, right? Or when we feel like we've made a mistake. I also talk a lot about the idea of fluid versus finite. And I talk about this a lot to do with like mindset, but it's this idea that, we either pass or fail, we win or lose. That's a finite way of thinking, but life is fluid. So it never stops. It's like a river. It never stops flowing, right? Till we pass away. So it's like there always is room to pivot. There's always room to go again. There's always a chance to, there is nothing that you've done that is so harmful that we cannot fix. But when it comes to weight loss, this is what we tend to do to ourselves and our clients do themselves is they think, oh, I had a weekend that I went away with the girls and I was partying all weekend and I just have completely blown everything. Forget it. I'm not even going to, I'm going to fire my coach and I'm not even going to do this anymore. Right. Because there's so much guilt and shame in that. Whereas instead, if we can start to learn to be like, okay, this is one weekend in the entire bigger picture of my life.
Yeah.
Now, how do we navigate the next few weeks or the next while to make sure we're still in line with our goals? And that's it. So it's, and then helping our clients be able to then shift that day to day and know what to do so they're not freaking out.
Mhm.
So that is, I love this way of doing it. It's like thinking the big picture, the 10,000-foot view, looking down, but then also being able to bring it into the daily details, which is how to build your meals, how many calories you need to be eating, how to balance hormones, how to optimize digestion, all of those things through the hows. And as a coach, that's what you need to be able to help with. The second way that holistic nutrition and weight loss coaches think different too is we understand that accepting change requires effort.
Yeah. That's like actually one of my favorite statements. I love that statement so much because it's it's such a like an aha moment in my mind because it's just like understanding that change is not something that comes easy.
And
To
and
change,
accepting it and accepting
yeah,
it. Like that's the thing I think is
totally.
very different is that we a lot of times we understand it intellectually,
Like
but we don't
logically.
actually be like, okay, this is gonna be work
Yeah.
and I'm still gonna do it.
Yeah. It's like my husband always says to our daughter, he's always just like, we're not afraid of hard work, right? We're not
Yeah.
afraid of hard work and it's okay. It's okay that it's hard. We're not afraid of it. And when you accept that it's going to be hard and that you're still going to do it, then that's when like beautiful things happen.
Well, and I like to shift too that, it doesn't necessarily also have to be hard. It's just effort, right? It takes work, it takes focus, it takes energy. And
Mm-hmm.
all of our clients want things to be easy, right? So I think it's really important from the beginning that we talk about this idea that going through this change, going on this weight loss journey is going to require effort from you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And change, the thing is though, is change is hard for everybody. Change is very hard for us. It's not even necessarily the work is hard, but it's hard for us to shift who we are and to shift our patterns and our habits because we do them on autopilot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as we start to accept that change requires effort and help our clients understand that, it's like they're not afraid of the effort it's going to take. It's like, yeah, I'm all in on it. So there's a difference between telling people, you know what I mean? Like, this is going to be a super easy journey and you're going to love it versus saying, okay, we're going on this weight loss journey together and it's going to require effort. And I'm going to need you to be in this with me. And it's fascinating how many people actually are like, when they understand, they're like, yes, I want to put in the effort. I want to do this. Okay. It's going to require you to, change the way you eat, the way you think, the things you do. We're not going to do it all at once, but it's going to require you that. It's going to require you to be committed. It's going to require consistency. It's going to require courage to show up when you don't want to show up. Right. And it's so interesting because so many times when you actually put that out there to your clients from the beginning, their response is, hell yes, I want to do this versus, oh, it requires effort. I don't want to.
But I
It's
think
like,
that
it
what
makes
you're
it easier for them to accept.
well, I was gonna say, like, because I think what you're really doing is you're laying the roadmap down for them. You're saying, like, you know, because someone may go into it thinking, like, oh, this is gonna be easy. I'm just gonna switch these things. And then if they're going into it that mindset, that's great that they're like, they're willing to make change. But when we actually lay it out and say, these are the expectations you should have going into this, but I'm here to support you and we're going to do this journey together, it's like allows for them to, again, you said accept it, but it really is that it's really about being like honest and saying, yes, this may take effort, this may take work, but now I'm on board. It's preemptively setting them up for success as opposed to having them go in almost like with blind faith in some ways.
And I also think we have to completely shift our language around making changes in our life because we have been, naturally we're programmed that we don't want to put in effort because it's work and we want to preserve energy. But it's also the idea of, there's something beautiful about being able to, you know, put in effort and make changes in your life. There's a feeling that you get when you actually are involved in your process versus having something given to you, which is why a lot of people who end up having a very quick fix, like for example, liposuction or like a procedure to lose weight, because they haven't had time to like catch up or they haven't gone through the process, it's just been a very quick result. They tend to end up gaining the weight back very quickly because not only have they lost what they lost the weight, but they didn't learn how to maintain it and keep it off. But there also is something in that process that you shift as you're putting through the effort and learning.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, that's how we change. Like we have to go through that like effort period to get to the change part. And if we don't do that, it's very easy for us to go back to old habits.
Right.
So the third thing is, and this is a very interesting concept, it's the idea of understanding success intolerance. So success intolerance is really just self-sabotage, right? So a lot of times, and I'll give you an example of this because this has happened to me multiple times. It's the idea that you are on the plan and you start seeing results and you're getting what you want. Like you say you want to lose 25 pounds and you're getting what you want, but then you have a marker where you see a big result. So for example, let's say my goal is to lose, I want to go down 4 sizes. And let's say I see on Friday, I'm like, oh my gosh, I am actually wearing a lower size. I've gone down a size. And then instead of being like, yes, I'm going to keep going and, focus on the next 3 sizes and keep doing what I'm doing, that weekend, then you go and binge eat and party and eat all these foods you weren't doing on your plan because you're like, oh, well, I just went down a size. So it's part of the resistance to change. And it's really fascinating because so many people do that. They'll start seeing results. They see the program's working, the plan is working, they're getting the physical results they want, they're feeling better, their mindset shifting. And then they just go and do all this stuff that they don't want to do. And they don't understand why. And it's that resistance to change, which is why mindset work is so important in the weight loss journey and why we teach it in our program, because you have to be able to marry the mindset and the method. If someone jumps too quickly or they're not allowing themselves to catch up with it, it's so easy for us to self-sabotage.
Mm-hmm. No, and self-sabotage is the thing too, that it's almost as if when you see that you're going to get to your end goal, you get consumed with the idea of like, well, what will I focus on then? This has been my identity. This has been who I am. I have been on a diet since I was 15 or whatever it is, like whatever the story is that you have for your own journey or your own self or that you've created. It's almost as if you look at that and you go, okay, but when I reach my goal, then what? And I think it really scares a lot of people into staying put versus moving forward, because instead they're not certain who they would be then, who they would become, or they're maybe a little bit nervous about who they would become when they reach that goal.
Yeah. And the other thing too is I think that a lot of times we love goal setting because we love to romanticize the goal and we think we're going to feel different when we hit the goal.
True.
So a lot of times the reason why we want to lose weight is because we think we're going to be happier in a new body, which is why we talk so much about how it's so important to love yourself while you're losing weight. It can't be, I'll love myself when I lose the weight, right? Because what we do is we think there's this like la kittens and rainbow land that we're going to. And believe me, I think this too. I still think this, whether it be a goal in our business or, a goal in my personal life or whatever it is. I'm like, okay, I know if we get there, things will be great or things will calm down or I will be happier. And when you actually get close to those things, you realize, wait a second, I am a different person, but I feel like nothing big has happened. Like I don't feel like the fireworks have gone off and I'm suddenly in love with myself like I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like there's this goal disappointment that sometimes happens because I teach this a lot. Because the thing is as we're moving through towards our goal, we are becoming the person who can hold that goal.
Yeah.
So it's like little by little, we've become the person who we wanted to be. But when we're so far away from it, we look at that place and we think, that's the place I want to go because it's going to be so happy. It's going to be so amazing. But then we realize everything is still going to be 50-50. There's still going to be the positives and the negatives of life, right? So it becomes this almost like, I don't know if it probably is goal disappointment. And a lot of times people don't want to feel that. They want to stay in the feeling of holding this goal on a pedestal. So they keep sabotaging their success.
Mhm.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, but it's absolutely correct in the sense that it's mindset and method, and the mindset has to be in line with everything that you're achieving, or else one like it'll pull you back, right? Your mindset will always pull you back, which is why I always say, when you're coaching someone, when it comes to fitness and nutrition and wellness, or you're helping someone through like a transformation in their life, if you're not helping them change the internal dialogue, change the conversation, change the habits around their lifestyle, we're doing them a disservice, because what they'll do is they may achieve a certain goal, but then they will always go back,
Yeah.
right? And you see it over and over again, which is why like the yo-yo effect and everything in health and fitness, like people talk about all the time. I mean, I've been there and done that a million times over, but that like yo-yo of 5 steps forward, 5 steps backwards is going to keep happening until they change the mindset, the way that they see their health journey, the way that they see their goals, the way that they see all of this. So as a coach, you need to learn the skills to be able to support them on that part of it, because that part is probably the most crucial part when it comes to transformation.
Yeah. And it's all of it is such, because it's such an amazing journey. Because I always say, when the way that you lose weight, the way that you learn the skills of weight loss and the mindset that goes along with it apply to everything in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to go through the process of changing what you do every day and also the way you think, right? And it's giving that space to yourself to understand that this is going to be a process that requires effort, right? It's like we want it to be easy, which goes back to number two. We want it to be easy because for some reason we think easy is better. And I want everyone to shift it. Not that hard is better, but like you were saying, we can do hard things, we can do hard work, we can make changes, and we
Mm-hmm.
can work on ourselves, and it doesn't always have to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's part of,
Will
being a holistic
oftentimes
nutrition
not
weight loss
become.
coach is helping your clients navigate through all of that and being honest with them and knowing that this is what is happening and this is why it's happening. And it's completely normal. It's
Mm-hmm.
completely normal to feel like one day you've blown your plan. It's completely normal to get close to, your goal and then you start sabotaging yourself. It's completely normal to, feel like you can't do this anymore, right? It happens. It's all part of the process.
Yeah.
So, with that, we're going to wrap this up. Again, we have our holistic nutrition weight loss coach certification starting on May 15th. I am so excited. So, make sure that you are checking that out, fitchexacademy.com/HWLC. Our orientation is May 15th. We kick off, and then we are going for 8 weeks live together. So, hopefully, you will join us. And I cannot wait to chat with you guys next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.